saw her performance last night, and it was really pretty amazing. She's got a big voice and a wonderful band, and it was just a real experience. And she did a vocal workshop today, and also you can see her at 7:45 tonight at the City Stage across from the News and Records. So we're really happy to have her. Fado is described as intense folk music. It comes from the streets and the cafes, and I found it to be really cinematic. There was a lot of wonderful piano and intricate guitar, and I was just really impressed by all of it, and impressed by Nathalie here, so we'll get started. As I said, I saw you last night, and I thought it was just a wonderful performance. I read and listened a lot before we met because I hadn't really heard a lot about this style of music before. I heard passionate, I heard intense, I heard, sad. And when I listened to the music and saw the performance, I didn't expect fun, but it was fun. It was great. Tell me about it.
Well, I just recorded an album that was released in March, and it's true. Fado is very intense, it's very dramatic, and we do seem to prefer to listen or to even interpret the most dramatic of themes. But where I am in my life right now, I gravitated more towards romantic songs or songs that weren't so heavy and about heartbreak. And that's why yesterday you did hear so much of different kinds of styles. We spoke about just traditional Portuguese people and what they do on their day-to-day lives, as well as love songs, songs about the capital of Portugal, which we love to sing about. And of course we did have the most intense songs about heartbreak and longing and everything is ruined and never going to be happy in my life, true to form. But we do know and understand that it's an audience that doesn't necessarily know this kind of music, and they probably don't know much about Portugal either. And I don't want them to think that maybe the Portuguese people are sad people or people that are always angry, because it's not true. We're very intense and we are very dramatic, but we're very gracious, and I think that if you've ever met somebody who's Portuguese, they would quickly welcome you into their homes and put wine on the table. And but I think we also have a right to feel so distraught and so exhausted after everything that we've been through.
Years ago, I bought a Buena Vista Social Club CD, and I realized that I like it when I don't know what's being said sometimes. I mean, I really like it when I don't know what's being said. It allows me to feel the music rather than thinking it through too much. And I was wondering what you think when you perform in a venue like this, when you know that many of the people who are listening to you might not understand.
I have mixed feelings because it's exciting because I know that there might be people that have never experienced this before. So that to me is very exciting. But I'm also sad because I'm singing songs that are written by the best writers of Portugal. And from the beginning of the century or beginning of the 20th century, as well as writers that are around now. And that's something that the Portuguese culture really, really loves, is to support the writers, which is something that I find fascinating because it's very much part of the art world. And so I'm very lucky to sing so many amazing lyrics, and you lose that if you don't understand. So I really do try to explain what each one means, and I'm always blown away by people that say, oh, I just felt how passionate it was, because then it means that you got it, you understood what Fado was all about. But it's so hard. There's so many words in Portuguese that you can't translate, like saudade, for example. Saudade means a longing for somebody or something, or sometimes you feel like a void in your life of something you don't even know that you need, and that's saudade. And unless you really understand that, it's kind of difficult to follow along, but I'm always blown away. And one of the things I love the most about performing at these folk festivals is that I get to see other performers that I also don't understand. So I get to feel with their performances the same way I guess audiences feel when they see me perform. So this is a learning experience all at the same time.
You know, I just got done saying that the words don't matter to me sometimes, but I wanted you to tell them about some of the themes of things that you sing about. There's a song about Maria. You said everybody wants to know why everybody's so mad at Maria.
Yeah, there's a song that I sing that's called I, Maria, and it's a very intense and dramatic melody. And it one time I was singing it in Kansas City last year, and I thought, you know, the lyrics isn't anything out of this world, so I'm just going to sing it. I'm not going to even explain it. And this lady came up to me after the concert, very concerned, and she said, I'm just wondering, why are you so angry at Maria? And I wasn't. And the song, all the song talks about is this young, beautiful girl who's mysterious. Nobody knows anything about her. She leaves before the sun rises to get water and doesn't come back till the sun sets. The end. But the whole time I'm like, hi Maria, hi Maria, and everyone's just like, oh my God, Maria's in trouble. But you know, it's true. Sometimes we're just singing about day-to-day things, and but I guess you get the intensity behind it, and you might think that there's something completely different. That's what you miss by not hearing the lyrics, by not understanding the lyrics. But the songs that I gravitate to are always the most dramatic and emotion-filled ones. Anything that will put you through an emotional roller coaster, I love to do that to you. And you know, my dad said that since before I could talk, I was always singing. And when I finally did start to sing on my own and started singing pop music, I always sang the most depressing things, like all by myself. I never had a boyfriend in my life, and like before then, and I was always singing, you know, the most heartbreaking songs. And then when I was 13 and I got to discover the magic behind Fado by singing it myself, my dad kept saying, why don't you sing songs about Portugal or nice happy things? And I was always like, no, I want to sing the most depressing topics. And that's really what, you know, when you go through life experiences, all of a sudden there's like a switch where there's a song that you've heard for so long, and then all of a sudden a feeling that maybe you can't put into words is in a song that's been written for so long already. And that's why Fado is so special to me. But I do my best to explain what the songs are about. But we sing about heartbreak, we sing about longing, we sing about any emotion that you feel, happy or sad.
Well, you're entitled to it. You come from a culture that sailed around and explored, and they're separated from their friends and their loved ones and their relatives. But
and one of the songs that I love the most is about, because in the Portuguese history books, we hear a lot about the men that went out to sea and made discoveries, and we never hear about the women that stayed back and waited for their return. And so many times the men wouldn't return, and it could have been a lover, a son, it could have been anybody. And these women suffered, and we sing about that. I mean, we really do sing about every emotion or every experience the Portuguese people felt. And I think that's in our blood, all that suffering for so long, and I think that's why we identify to this kind of music.
it also makes for good wine.
That's for sure.
I'm really glad you sang a little bit, because I wanted people to understand what I experienced when I went over there. Here's this tiny little thing, and she's very polite and demure to this big audience that had just been screaming for a bluegrass band, and you know, she gets up to the microphone, and all of a sudden this voice comes out, and it's like a truck, you know, it's a big voice out of this little person. And I thought, well, okay, she started when she was 13 years old, and you're talking about heartbreak and longing and distance and all of that stuff. That's a big thing to put on, the drama of that delivery. How did you do that when you were really young?
Like I said, I was attracted to the drama. And back then, it was so rare for a young girl to sing. The audience thought it was interesting to see a young girl sing about heartbreak and all these things. But then as I started to get older and started to experience this, started to experience love, heartbreak, stress, anxiety, it all started to make sense, and I think I was a little more convincing because I went through it. But when I was younger, I remember seeing other women, all dressed in black, singing this kind of music. And so I got the gist of it. I knew that it had to be dramatic, so I closed my eyes and I would, do everything that I thought. But it's not until you really experience the topics that you're singing about that you can be convincing and actually just pour your heart out. It's like a mini therapy session.
Now, you said your dad, from what I've read about you, your dad asked you to sing first. Was it his band initially? Or?
No, my dad was a musician. He is a musician. And he played in a Portuguese group that played cover music.
Oh, okay.
But we were part of a Portuguese social club that was holding a Fado night. And I was invited to sing because they knew I liked to sing, but I never sang Fado. And my dad was a huge Fado fan. And he gave me the greatest hits of the unrivaled queen of Fado, Amália Rodrigues, and he asked me to sing it. And of course I picked dramatic songs, and he goes, maybe I should have picked them for you. But even though my dad was such a huge influence, he never forced me to do anything. He kind of just, and that really helped me out, let me learn as I went along. And he's probably watching right now. I mean, he is definitely the person that inspired me to do this, and to this day.
You're another one of those second generation people where, your father's a journeyman musician and it's sort of the family business, and then you get to it and it somehow explodes.
I was born in New Jersey, but my first language at home was Portuguese. And at home we always listened to Portuguese music, and not only, my dad loves all kinds of music from all around the world, but we were very involved in the Portuguese community, which we have a huge Portuguese community in New Jersey. So even though I was born here, I do have dual citizenship, but I always felt like I was a Portuguese person in the United States. Because after school, I'd go to Portuguese school, I'd go to a Portuguese church, we would go to Portuguese parties every weekend. My parents never forced me to marry within my culture. Maybe if they did, I would have married an American, but they didn't, so I married a Portuguese man as well. And it's just a huge part of who I am, and we never let that go. And I think for me, with Fado, it allows me to feel closer to Portugal when I am far away. So to me, it's just an escape.